Hey everyone, I want to make a video about the difference between a god and a spirit. A spirit is that which existed in some form on Earth, that existed in some form on other planets as well, that exists in the spiritual realm, astral realm, realm of the Loa, however you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. And there are multiple different dimensions and that are ever expanding, ever increasing, ever unfolding on themselves, in which spirits and gods exist. But spirits are they who existed in a very material form and didn't evolve past what that form was as far as on an elementary level, uh, whether it be material, whether it be energy, whether it be the specific purpose of life in the form that they existed in, be it animal, human, mineral, very material things. The life in specific material, that's what a spirit is. A spirit is that which has not evolved past the specific life that existed in one of these shells, in one of these encasings, in one of these forms. A god is a soul that evolved past um, the uh, the confines of a specific form. Uh, a god is something that willfully and very actively participated in their own enlightenment to the extent that they became more than the capabilities of a localized and singular form, like a human body, like an animal, like a mineral, like a plant. They became something that was so expansive that their energy basically is cast out like the sun, is uh, composed of rays like the sun, is always replenishing life and giving aid to creatures and life forms and sentient beings around it uh, through these kinds of energetic rays. But at their core, they still have a similar form like other life forms, but the form is very energy based and very powerful, very able to affect different dimensions and the people who are devoted to them. Um, Now, different gods uh, basically cover different areas of creation. Some are more associated with sacrifice in battle. Some are more associated with motherhood. Some are more associated with being a father and going to work. Some are more associated with taking care of the land. Some are more associated with producing food or producing milk and cheese through having a dairy farm. Some are more associated with even crime and criminals. Some of the gods are not very orderly, but more chaotic. But there's not as many chaotic ones, not nearly as many chaotic ones as there is ones that are a part of a grander order. There are gods who are protectors of law and justice. There are gods who are protectors of the weak. Um, all these different gods are pieces of one grander god. There are different functions of one supreme god, the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan, uh, or Ashwara, or we can call him Yahweh, God, Allah. The Supreme God is the one who is beyond separation, one that is completely infinite, that there is no finite nature to. That is what the ultimate God is. But there's all these different functionary gods that exist below the main God in order to carry out the different actions that the main God has to participate in, that has to help us with, for us to continue on in this world, for the universe to be maintained, and all the universes to be maintained. But that's why a god is so much bigger and greater than a spirit. A spirit is that life force which is still disconnected from God in a big way, or even being a god in a big way, and disconnected from its true spiritual essence. But rather, a spirit is that which is which is and has a limited connection, just like we do as humans, or animals do, or plants do. But they exist in the spiritual realm because they are perhaps a little bit above us or below us, but they're always a degree around us as far as how far they've progressed on the spiritual path. How close they are into enlightenment, into liberation, moksha, or how close they are into being a god. Liberation and moksha, same term, or enlightenment, same term, is that stage which is the unifying factor between us and God. Once somebody reaches enlightenment or moksha, one has become one with God, and even the gods have not done that yet. But we can do that here. That's the amazing thing about sentient life, is that we can do that here. We can become enlightened here, and we don't have to go to the stage of being a god before we reach God and become enlightened or liberated, however you want to say it. We don't have to make that choice to increase our power before we increase our connection to the one divine source, the primordial source, the source that everything exists within. We don't have to focus on our own glorification. And the gods, most of the time, are very focused on their own glorification, their own ego. And they have not overcome their own ego, most of them, in any way, except for the main divine sources of God, which haven't a connection to time like the other forms of God. All the other gods, besides the main forms of divinity that are permanent, are going to expire after a certain amount of time, just because it is likely that they'll fall, or that they won't maintain their role in a proper way, and somebody else will take up that role as that specific god. God of solar energy, god of lunar energy, god of energetic yogic practices, as far as very specific yogas, god of certain plants, god of the ocean, god of the sea waves. There's many different oceanic type gods. God of gravity, god of minerals, god of fire. All these different gods are finite and very elemental. They are bound by time, and they will decay just like plants, animals, and humans, and minerals. They will decay, and eventually they won't be able to sustain their form, and they'll have to either go up or down. Either they'll come back further down here to being a spirit, being us, or being a demon, which is much lower, or they'll become one with God. The gods cannot remain in their spot forever. The ones that aren't main forms of divinity. And basically, I've given a really good outline as far as spirits and gods go. There's a lot of information I left out, but this is a coherent argument for the basic difference between spirits and gods, and as far as spirits being down here and gods kind of being up here, just in a basic analysis. But thanks everybody for watching, and I hope you watch more.